My fellow flames of Amethyst, welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video. My name is Amethyst Abrams, and today we're going to be talking about Phrolova and Scar, and when I believe they're going to be coming to the game later this year, and how I believe they're going to be introduced to the game within the story, and when they're going to be playable in my prediction and my personal theory and my personal opinion. So if you enjoy this discussion video about Phrolova and Scar, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let me know when you believe Scar, Phrolova, and Cristofaro, who is the new member of the Fractus that we're introduced to in 2.0, are coming to the game. Now, as we know, since the release, Scar and Phrolova have been in high demand by the community, me included. I've been interested in Scar, I've been very interested in Phrolova. Phrolova is a more mysterious character compared to Scar because we've got to know Scar a little bit more through 1.0 story, when we met them during the Black Lamb story part of the Huanglong arc, and then when we imprisoned Scar, we asked him a bunch of questions, and he kind of was very sort of interested in us, in a sense of it's like he knew who we were. It's like Phrolova and Scar don't exactly want to hurt us. They're trying to sort of persuade us to do something, or try and persuade us to join the Fractus for whatever reason. And then we imprison Scar, and then Phrolova appears at the end of 1.1, saying it's about time we attend to an old friend, insinuating that she is planning the prison break of Scar in Wuthering Waves. Now, we haven't seen the prison break yet, but we know it's going to happen. We know Scar is going to break out of prison, or something chaotic and something extravagant and something very epic is going to occur around Scar, Phrolova, Rover, and the Fractus. Now, in 2.0, we got reintroduced to Phrolova, and we find out that Phrolova has been planning something in Renacita around the Thronodian, around that cult group, and basically is trying to not kill Rover, but toy with Rover in a sense. And we are also introduced to Cristofaro, who at the time when playing the story, we didn't quite know was a member of the Fractus. Now, is it just me, or does it seem like Phrolova is trying to do the same thing as Scar was? Because if you noticed through the story, when we fought Phrolova, it was kind of like she was playing along with the whole grand finale for the festival. She wasn't trying to kill civilians. She wasn't trying to harm anyone. She was trying to communicate with us. It was like there were plans and there was contingencies set in motion, set in place to lure us as the main character, as Rover, to her. She teleported us away. She led us away. We went through a portal in that really cool first-person like walkway bit near the end of 2.0, and then she was talking to us and asking us questions. We were asking her questions, and it just didn't seem like she treated us like a threat. It's sort of like she treated us like a not an ally, but not a threat. It was sort of like a middle ground sort of thing between the two. Same with Scar. Scar wasn't trying to hurt us initially. He was trying to convince us, saying, hey, look, I know you've lost your memories. I know who you are. You clearly don't know who we are. And we are the key to unlocking your memories. We can actually help you find what you're looking for, which insinuates that in one of Rover's past lives, Rover knew Scar and Phrolova and knew who the Fractus were. Whether Rover maybe was a part of the Fractus, or whether Rover fought against the Fractus, or maybe he created the Fractus. There's a couple of theories about who Rover was in his past life, and one of the theories is Rover was a member or created the Fractus, which is the reason why Scar and Phrolova don't want to kill or harm Rover in a sense of harming him severely. If anything, they're trying to sort of gauge his power, gauge who he is, gauge what's happened to him, and see if he's redeemable and maybe come over back to their side. Maybe, potentially. We don't know for sure. But that is a strong theory, and it wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, we know Rover in one of his past lives left the Black Shores. He left. We don't know why he left. One of my theories, that I'm sure other people have come up with something similar, is he's in a cycle. Rover has been reincarnated multiple times. We don't know how many times he's been reincarnated. And each time, maybe something occurred which stopped the survival of Solaris 3, or maybe something happened which put an end to Rover's life in that cycle, in that version of the cycle, which is the reason why he keeps becoming reincarnated, because the goddess maybe keeps reincarnating Rover for a grand purpose. And every single time Rover fails or comes close to failing, or maybe if Rover strays from the path that the goddess and this higher power has had for Rover, he dies, and then they reincarnate him again to see if he can make the right choices and see if he can make the path that was planned for him or her. And maybe when he left the Black Shores in his past life, the life before the one we're in now, he created the Fractus. Maybe he thought that the Black Shores isn't quite what we need to help Solaris 3 survive. Maybe we need something darker. Maybe like Thanos, like Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame in the MCU, where he's like, everything I'm doing isn't for an evil purpose. It's at random. I'm snapping at random. I'm not going for women, children, or innocence on purpose. I'm snap my fingers and people will just cease to exist. It'll be painless. It'll be instant. It's merciful, and it's going to save the universe from the resources. The lacking of resources, which is sort of what he wanted. That's why he did the thing of the universe is finite, its resources finite. If life is kept unchecked, life cannot continue to exist. That is because he's doing something bad to have a good end goal. It's callous. It's very callous. It's a very brutal way and a very morally grey way of thinking. But if you think of it in the grand scheme of things, he's not doing it to be evil. He's doing it because he believes that's what it is to be right. And maybe Rover left the Black Shores and created the Fractus to essentially, because maybe he thought that was the right thing to do. Maybe it's like, the Sentinels and the side of the light isn't quite cutting it for what I'm trying to do, for what the goddess wants. So maybe a path down the dark side and maybe doing certain things that I don't necessarily agree with, but things that are necessary, might be the path forward. Which means that the Fractus might be misunderstood, which is the reason why Scar and Phrolova don't seem like murderous, heartless killers. Now, Scar's a little bit twisted. Scar's a little bit, deranged in the head. We know this. He's a little bit unhinged. But if you notice, every single thing we've seen from Scar and every bit of information we found from Scar doesn't seem like he is pure evil. It seems like he's definitely not all there, and he's definitely a little bit mad, and maybe he does bad things at times because he's a little bit unhinged. But I don't think the Fractus and the characters at heart are evil. Phrolova, I don't think, is evil at all. I think, again, the Fractus are doing callous and dark things to build a better tomorrow, to build a better end and a better future for Solaris. However, the views and the way to do it is incorrect, which might be the reason why what we're seeing as the Rover in the story looks chaotic, looks like absolute carnage. But maybe in the Fractus's mind and past Rover's mind, if Rover created the Fractus, this is what might be necessary to build a better tomorrow. Or maybe the past Rover knows something about the goddess and knows something about the Sentinels that this current Rover doesn't know. Maybe there's something more to it. Maybe there's something bigger at play here, which is the reason why he's done what he's done. Like a chess piece, like a chessboard. Every single reincarnation of Rover, when Rover regains his memories or Rover does a different path, is like a chessboard. And all the pieces are being set in motion and being put in play for a grander scheme of things. Now, that's what I think. That's where I think the story's going. I think eventually we're going to find out that Rover personally either created the Fractus or was a part of the Fractus and knew Phrolova and Scar in a past life, or they knew of each other in a past life or something like that. That's where I think it could potentially go from the story. Because also, I'm not sure if it's Phrolova or Christophara, but at the end of 2.0, one of the last lines that one of them said was, "After all, we're all just mere pawns," which means they are not in control. They are not in charge, and it seems to be based around Rover, which is why Phrolova sort of, when you defeat Phrolova, she's like, to be expected. It's to be expected. Look, at our dance is not quite yet done. Everything is proceeding as planned, and she vanishes. So something's going on, and the Fractus know who Rover is, and know what Rover's about, and know he lost his memories, and all these different things. And they try to free the Threnodians for a purpose that we don't quite know. We don't quite know yet. Maybe the Threnodians aren't as evil as we think. Maybe it's sort of one of those things where it's like, if you actually hear what the Threnodians and what the Fractus have to say, it doesn't seem as bad. What they're doing is bad. Like the actions that they're doing for this better future is bad. But the end goal that they're going for is like, okay, it's not an evil purpose, but it's not a pure good purpose. It's like a morally grey. This needs to happen for this to happen. However, there will be casualties. There will be dark moments, that kind of thing. But that's a bit of a digression. We're not talking about Threnodians. We're talking about the Fractus, and more specifically, where the story's going, and more about Scar and Phrolova. I also believe that Phrolova will be playable in 2.x. We got a promotional artwork. We got promotional works for Phrolova. If you guys remember, they had that really cool dance animation where they all had they had in front of the stage, and each one, it was Zani, it was Carlotta, it was Rover, both of the Rovers. All the way up, and then the last one was Phrolova. There was actually a promotional picture of Phrolova. If you guys remember, it was a short. It was like a Wuthering Wave short. Phrolova was featured amongst the main roster, the playable roster of Wuthering Waves. I think by the end of 2.x, Phrolova will be playable. Now, if Wuthering Waves is going to follow following the formula as they always have, then it's most likely going to be a 2.4 character. I think she might be with us by 2.4, and if not 2.4, by 3.0, which by the past roadmap and the past formula that Cura have done, from 1.0 to 1.4, then 2.0. If it's 2.0 to 2.4, then 3.0. I think 2.4 will be potentially Phrolova, and I think we might also get the reintroduction to Scar, since we haven't seen him since 1.0. I think we could get the Prison Break arc very soon. And I think in a past video I mentioned this, that will lead on to a new extension of Renacita, or the new Federation, or a new region. But I think Phrolova is going to be popping up a lot in the story of 2.x and from 2.1 to 2.4, and I think it's going to build up to her being playable, and I think it's going to reveal a lot about what her plans are within the Fractus. I think Cristofaro is going to be playable, but I think he's going to be a 4-star. I think Cristofaro will be a 4-star if he's playable, and obviously Phrolova will be a 5-star. And I think 2.3 or 2.4 is when they will make their appearance. I also think that we're going to have Fleur de Lis as a playable character by 3.0, by the end of 2.x. However, that's a topic for a different video. We'll talk more about Fleur de Lis in the future, because there's a lot to cover about Fleur de Lis, and a lot of theories that people have been coming up with, including myself, about Fleur de Lis and who she is and where she's come from, and whether or not she's the Sentinels Resonator, or whether or not she's the Threnodians Resonator. Now, we don't quite know who Fleur de Lis is, but like I said, I'll get onto Fleur de Lis in a future video. But yeah, I think by 2.4 or maybe 3.0, we will have Phrolova as a playable character, and Cristofaro, I believe, will be a playable 4-star character. I don't think Cristofaro will be a 5-star. If he is, great. It'll be great if he's released as a 4-star and he's really cool and he has 5-star aura. But as of right now, based on the story, I don't think Cristofaro has that oomph, that edge, that source. He doesn't have the source of a 5-star personally. This is my opinion, by the way, guys. Obviously, if people want to disagree with me, put that down in the comments. Let me know if you think Cristofaro will be released as a playable character. Let me know if you think he'll be a 4 or 5-star. I'd love to know. But I do think Phrolova will be playable. Scar, I think, is going to be an anniversary unit, or he'll be a 3.0 unit. I think he's anniversary level. And if he isn't a playable character by the anniversary, which looks like it's going to be 2.4, I originally thought it was going to be 3.0, but it looks like 2.4 is going to be the anniversary update, and then 3.0 will be the update after, unless of course they choose to go 2.5 and 6 and then 3.0. We don't know yet. Obviously we know Kuro wants to do a big scale update every 6 months, which would put us on to June 2nd, from January 2nd to June 2nd. So June 2nd will most likely be when 2.4 will launch, or 3.0 will launch, most likely 2.4, and it'll be a grand event, a grand thing happening. We could also get a Mount Firmament, like a typical Mount Firmament moment, where we'll get a new area off the coast of Renacita. It's a brand new area, but it's a part of Renacita. And then, yeah. And then that will be like a new, pretty big, because Mount Firmament isn't small. It's quite a big place to explore. 1.1 was a big patch. Anyone that says it wasn't, you're delusional. It was a big patch. Mount Firmament is a big place. Mount Firmament is bigger than the Black Shores. Is a bigger place than the Black Shores. So maybe we could get a Mount Firmament where 2.4 is a big patch regards to story. Maybe it's the New Federation. Maybe the New Federation is a extension of Renacita, and that's where we're going next. Maybe we'll get the Prison Break arc, because I do believe Scar by the end of 2.x is going to be reintroduced. I do really think that, and I think it would be great. It would be a missed opportunity if Kuro don't reintroduce Scar to the story and don't potentially introduce him as a playable character by the end of 2.x going into 3.0. I think that would be perfect. I think Phrolova is going to be Havoc. I think Scar's going to be Havoc. I think Cristofaro is probably going to be Fusion or Havoc. I think the color schemes and everything that they've got going for them is pointing towards the fact that they could be Havoc. They could be a Havoc kind of character, and I think that's where it's going to go. I think because of the Fractus color schemes, because of what they look like and because of who they are, it would make sense for the majority of the Fractus to be Havoc or Fusion. And I think between Phrolova, Scar, and Cristofaro, those are the 3 confirmed Fractus members that we have in game. Yeah, I think they're going to be between Fusion and Havoc. I think Phrolova is going to be either a single blade user, like a single sword user, or she's going to be a rectifier user. Because she seems like the mage type, and all of the mage type characters have rectifiers, so I think Phrolova will be a rectifier, and I think Scar will be a gauntlet user, or a broad blade user. And Cristofaro seems like... he seems like the gun character, or potentially even... he might even be a single sword user as well. But it's hard to say right now, and it's going to be interesting in seeing what these characters are going to be. But those are my predictions on where I think Phrolova and Scar are going to come into it. That's what I think they're going to be, and that's when I think they're going to release. So if you enjoyed this prediction video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you all think about my predictions and where you think Scar, Phrolova, and Cristofaro are going to be playable. Thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Take it easy, people.